First of all, it was a big privilege to get this award, being announced or pronounced the best high school teacher in the country. That evening was amazing, standing there in front of the entire nation on camera, receiving this award, and I actually felt warm and fuzzy. It's the first time I could go and say, I feel warm and fuzzy, which was quite cool. But then I started thinking afterwards, after I got the trophy and everybody was ranting and raving about this, I actually thought, what does this mean? And now I can tell you it means very little in my life. Yes, it's a great privilege. Yes, it's good that somebody sitting somewhere in a big office somewhere thought, this guy can teach. And I'm grateful for that. But think back to your own school days, which was just yesterday or the day before, just a little while ago. Think back to that. What makes a good teacher good? But in the same instance, what makes a bad teacher bad? Can you remember your good teachers? Can you? Yeah, I'm feeling like I'm preaching here. You can really, really respond to what I'm saying. Hey, please, because you're going to fall asleep. Okay. Can you remember your good teachers?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, we're alive. Can you remember them? Why can you remember them? Okay, I can't hear all of you, but I guess the whole thing is they meant something to you. Can you remember their faces? Can you remember their names? Okay, and in 10 years from now? In 20 years from now? When you're 80? Maybe not, because Alzheimer's sets in with some of us. But at least, even if you don't remember their name, if you don't remember their face, at least you know what that person made you feel. And the bad teachers? Or should I say the less good teachers? Can you remember them? Yes. Most definitely. Why can you remember them? Because they were bad. Huh? Will you remember their faces? Yeah, forever. Even through Alzheimer's. You'll remember those faces. You'll remember those names. You will. Why? Because they made you feel something in class that you didn't like. You didn't like that at all. So now, why am I here? Can I really say that I'm the best teacher in the country? I don't know. It depends on my learners. Will they remember my name in 20, 30, 40 years? I don't know. Hopefully one day when I'm 80 and Alzheimer's have set in, one of the kids in my class will come and say, hey, I remember you. You taught me this and this and this and that. Then I'll be happy. Now normally, when I sit in an audience like this and somebody comes to speak to me and bores me to tears and bores me to death, I would like to know, what gives this person the right to come and address me? What gives this person the right to come and stand in front of a group like this and talk about something? Okay, now what I have done, just to tell you a little bit more of my history, is my qualifications. What do I have on paper that can prove to you guys, maybe I know something? Okay, now there's a lot of things in the background here. I did my BSc in biochemistry and zoology. Then, as Professor De Beers said, I did my honors in zoology. I did my PGCE, and eventually I completed my master's in education as well. Do you know what this says? This testifies to somebody that doesn't have an idea what to do with his life. Because I wanted to be a student all of my life. I didn't want to deal with harsh realities. Can you remember, in the middle of grade 12, people start asking you, what are you going to do with the rest of your life? You remember that? What are you going to do next year? It's a difficult question. I couldn't answer that. So, in the middle of grade 12, I wondered, what will I be doing with the rest of my life? You know what I wanted to do? I wanted to go study drama. I wanted to become an actor. And eventually, I became one, as a teacher. I mean, look at this, I'm standing in front of a camera. I am ready for my close-up now. How lucky am I? But what did my parents say? My parents said, no, you will not go and study drama. You need to go earn money. And here I am, a teacher who's going to earn a lot of money, because that's why I'm a teacher. So I want money. I hear the laughs. So what happened? So I thought, no, you know what? I actually want to impress people. That's what I want to do one day. I want to impress people. I've met a few friends of mine who want to become doctors, want to become lawyers, who want to become chartered accountants. There's nothing wrong with becoming any of those professions. It's the way you say it that's the problem. Hi, I'm a doctor. Hi, I am a chartered accountant. So I wanted something that sounded like that. So I said, I want to become a chemical engineer. How impressive is that? Everybody wants to become engineers. So I'm studying engineering. Everyone goes, oh, you're studying engineering. Wow, that must be hard. It's like, yeah. But then along with that, I was a little lazy, so I didn't want to go study far. So I thought, you know what? I stay 5 kilometers away from RAU that time, which is now UJ. And I said, let's go study there. I don't have to drive miles and miles and miles, just around the corner from home. So good. But they did not have chemical engineering that time. So I thought, okay, what will I do? What will I do? So the best next option was studying biochemistry and chemistry. And that's even much more impressive. Oh, I'm studying biochemistry and chemistry. Yes. And then after my first year, and this is a story I tell everybody, chemistry became too easy. Chemistry was so easy. I just decided, nah, let's leave it. Chemistry is so easy, I will take another subject. And I did. But the problem was, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I took one of the subjects that I hated the least. Not that I liked the most, that I hated the least. So at the end of my first year, I thought, nah, let's take zoology. I'm going to cut up things, and it's going to be awesome, and bloods and guts and gore. So let's take it. And that actually shaped the rest of my career. Because I am a biology teacher. If I didn't make that silly decision then, I wouldn't probably not be standing here. Okay, but now I studied that. So I got biochemistry and zoology, and in the middle of my third year, I got exactly the same question. What will you be doing next year? What will you be doing with the rest of your life? I couldn't answer that question. I like being a student. Being a student rocks. So I said, no, let's study some more. So what will I do? I need to do my honors in something. Let's choose the subject that I like the most, or that I don't despise as much as biochemistry. And I only had one other option. So okay, let's do zoology. And in the middle of my honors in zoology, I got the same question. What will you be doing next year? And maybe this message is hitting home because a lot of you feel like that. Why did you go into teaching? Why? Because you don't know what you want to do with the rest of your life. That's what I did. So in the middle of my honors year, luckily, I was a student facilitator for human physiology. And I worked with first year students who didn't know or that couldn't grasp certain concepts in physiology. And sitting working with them, I felt good. You know those moments when you try and explain something to someone and they sit there and they look at you like this? Huh? And then you explain it again. And then they still look at you like this. What are you saying? I don't have a clue. Okay? And then after the third time, when they do this, when they go, now it makes sense. That's where the warm and fuzzy feeling starts. That's where we go, wow, I made somebody else understand something that they didn't. It's like, wow, this kind of feels good. So the lecturer at that time said, well, you don't know what you want to do with the rest of your life. Did you think of going into teaching? And I didn't. I didn't think of it at all. But now she planted the seed. So I thought, you know what? This isn't a bad idea. I don't want to study further because I'm lazy. I want to start earning money, but I don't want to work hard. What would be the best job to have? I thought teaching would be the best job to have ever. 4 holidays a year. Come on. What's not to like about that profession? 4 holidays a year. You only work a half day. Because at 2 o'clock you go home. Wow. Amazing. Tell that to the doctors and the accountants and the chemical engineers who need to work till 6 and 7 and 8. I go home at 2. Ka-ching. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to try this. let's try teaching, and then somewhere along the line, I will make up my mind. Guess what? The first moment I've put my foot into a classroom, I fell in love with this profession. There's a big difference between a job and a profession. This is something I cannot wait to do every single morning when I wake up. I want to step into a classroom and I want to make a difference. I want to teach people content. I want to do this. Not because I can't do anything else. Have you heard that before? Teachers. What else did you try? And then you're like, okay, well, let's settle for teaching. That's what I did. I settled for teaching. Luckily for me, I stepped into the right profession. Maybe you're sitting here tonight, you go, yee, I also chose the easy option. I also just wanted to go into teaching because of the 4 holidays and the awesome salary. There's hope for you yet. When you step into the classroom, you will feel that warm and fuzzy. I hope. If this isn't your career, thank you for trying. Hope to see you in the doctor's room one day. Okay, but now, that's not enough about my sad, sorry history. Just a little thing more. What is my CV? What have I done so far? I've been teaching for about 6 years. A little bit more than 6 years. What have I done in that time? I taught at Hoërskool Florida for 5 years, and it's good to see a lot of the old students in the auditorium as well. Go Flories. And after that, I went over to Maragon Private School, where I am currently. But along with that, I was also elected to be on the board of members for the Achterbergh. What the hell is the Achterbergh? Why is this so important? It stands for the Afrikaanse Taal en Kultuur Vereniging. And once again, I see this, huh? Okay, let me explain. It's a society of Afrikaans-speaking people that just come together and are passionate about the language and are passionate about our Afrikaans culture. Okay, so even if it's your first language, second language, third language, or you just speak it in self-defense, you can come and give. But why do I mention it here? What is my portfolio on the board of directors? I am tasked specifically with issues surrounding the youth. Not just Afrikaans youth, the youth of the country. So when I sit there on the board, we make decisions based or focused on the youth in this country. And then my secondary role there is to give some advice on education matters and so forth. Hey, and then the other thing I've done, we've just completed writing a grade 12 textbook that will be out next year. Professor De Beer and me and some other of our colleagues, we worked on that. That's being released. And then your prescribed textbook, the case studies book, Being a Teacher. I also wrote a case in there. So your homework, go read my case. Hey, with one of the other sessions, somebody asked me, what was the most negative time in teaching? And I gave them the homework. I said, go please read that case. Hey, it is written about someone else to protect my own identity. But I'll tell you guys, when you read that case study, it actually happened to me. Okay, so when you go to your textbook, read it. Okay, so that's what I've done. And I think that gives me a little bit of a license just to come and tell you guys what I have experienced in the 6 years of teaching so far. I just want to share some of it, and I hope that the passion that I have for this profession will rub off. Not literally, because I don't want like personal contact. Ew. Hey, you don't want to, I'm sweating stuff, so don't rub off literally. I want to rub off my passion for education. And I know after this excursion, you will definitely know if you see chance, if you see, or if you look forward to being a teacher. Okay, now, who of you will agree with me with the statement that education in this country is in a crisis? You may put up your hand. We won't put you on camera though. 3 people think that education in this country is in crisis. Okay, are the rest of you blind? Are you? Don't you see what's going around? Okay, now, what I'll do is I'll show you a little video and then we'll get into some real negative things about education.
You cannot tell from the faces of the school children, but their futures are in jeopardy. Many of the public schools in the Eastern Cape are literally falling apart. Kulile, who goes by one name, runs an organization known as Save Our Schools in Grahamstown. He says everything in the schools is in urgent need of repair.
Like the toilet system, the classroom, the desks, like the windows, So most things that the department can easily fix.
The Provincial Department of Education is in charge of everything relating to public schools, and based on public speeches, officials seem fully aware of the school's condition. But a department spokesman told VOA he could not find anyone to comment on the situation. Kulile says administrators at this school have asked for help to fix the boys' bathroom for the past 5 years. There is no water for the sinks and toilets. The roof has large holes in it. Students beg for help, says student leader Dumisani Papi.
We wrote letters to the department. We did a lot of stuff as in cleaning the toilets, but no help has come.
These were the bathroom conditions at another school, and it does not seem to be a matter of money. The national government devotes 19% of its budget to schools.
They do have the money, sir. They do have the money.
This kind of situation is repeated across the province, where much of the school infrastructure is in disrepair. These students climb through the classroom window because the door is broken. The problem is even worse in rural areas. Here, most students still go to school in mud structures, even though the government promised to replace all of them years ago. Cameron McConaughey took these pictures. He is an attorney for the Legal Resources Centre. He explains what happened at one school after the government did take down an old mud school.
When the contractor arrived, he demolished what did exist, and he built the trenches for the new school and then disappeared. So they were left with nothing.
This is what is left. Community leaders complained, but 3 years later nothing has been done. So they hired McConaughey to sue the education department.
It almost seems like a disregard for the integrity and the dignity of people and the people that they're dealing with.
In the meantime, the students learn in temporary shacks of corrugated tin.
Broken down doors are used as tables, bricks that are strewn around the construction site, those are the seats.
Most schools have a shortage of teachers as well. Nyaluza High School, for more than a year, has been asking the education department to replace 4 teachers who were moved to another school. The school's principal is Mangaliso Nkwinti.
I don't know how many times have we been to the department and how many times have we been so angry, talking to them, trying to show them the situation at the school and why we would like to get so many teachers and to try and improve, which is the bottom line here.
Students at many schools are forced to share the few available books. George Lamani teaches at Nyaluza High School.
My principal has just, explained that we have been, systematically knocking at their door, talking professionally with them, and they are not listening.
The average number of students who graduate from high school in Eastern Cape Province is 50%. Some schools graduate as few as 9% of their students. Derek Light runs the Public Service Accountability Monitor that monitors the educational system here. He says another major problem is the quality of the teachers.
Those who teach the teachers are not well qualified, and then the teachers themselves are not qualified. And all of that obviously leads to poor education in the classroom.
These students will graduate in December. They know the outlook is grim.
There's a very little chance that many of us can make it.
For VOA, this is Martin Phillips in Grahamstown, South Africa.
To whom of you sitting here is that news? Something new that you don't know? All of us, we know this. Hey, this was a broadcast made for the Americans, so they can see what's happening in the country. Do you agree with this? Is this the total picture of education in our country? Yeah, let me give you a few interesting numbers. We've got about 30,000 schools in this country. 3,000 of them are classified as functional. 3,000 out of 30,000 classified as functional schools. So that leaves us with about 27,000 that's classified as dysfunctional. So where do you think you will work one day if you're a teacher? You're going to walk into a functional school. You're like, I'm going to teach the best people in this country. Good luck with that. You will walk into a dysfunctional school. Even if you do think it's a functional school, there will be dysfunctional elements. One of the things that I wanted to do is create a list of some of the things I think are the characteristics of education system in crisis. And it didn't take me long to really compile this list. The first thing I want to talk about is the pass rate in this country. We're happy about the pass rate. I mean, in the last 5 years, we've seen a steady increase in the matriculation pass rate. We went from 62 to 64, and eventually now we're close to 70. Some would say we're on 70% of all our grade 12s pass matric. They get the senior certificate. Are we happy with that? Yes, we're happy with that. If you look at the responses we get from the education department, no, there's an increase. Let's give you some interesting stats. In 2000, we enrolled about 1.2 to 1.4 million grade 1s. By the time they reached grade 12, we were left with about 500,000. That means between grade 1 and grade 12, we've lost about 1 million children. That means yearly we have 1 million 18-year-olds without a high school qualification. That brings our pass rate, or success rate if you want to, about 30%-ish. Are we happy with that? Please do not take everything you read in the papers as the truth, as everything is going well. Now we've got a 70% pass rate. That's not the true picture. If your goal is to get people through grade 12, yeah, but I would like to get people from grade 1 running through grade 12 and beyond that. So the ones sitting here, you are the lucky few because you even got university exemption. And that's a much lower number. So do you still think education is fine in this country? I don't think so. The next one that I want to talk about is the lack of government support. And also corruption. It's like a negative buzzword we have in this country. Corruption, corruption, corruption. You don't have to look far to see where the issues lie. Look at the textbook scandal that we had last year. That alone is enough to give me sleepless nights. So we have a lot of that happening in our schools. The next one is what I call the deterioration of the family unit. So remember, we see the learners for about 8 hours in a day. After that, they need to go home. And to which type of home do they go? Is it one where everything is awesome? There's a mom, there's a dad, there's a loving environment? Not for the majority of the learners in this country. We've got many households run by learners. Child-headed households where there is no mom, there is no dad. And now we want this poor learner that needs to get money for the rest of his family. We want him to achieve. Do good in math. Why didn't you do your homework today? But he's got much bigger problems. But we don't think of that because you only want them to pass. How safe can you feel if you go home to an abusive father, to an abusive mother? But now still you want to pass school. You want to get through school. It's difficult. The next one is the misuse of power. I don't know if you've read this in the news, but what type of schooling system do we have where learners get sexually abused by their principals? They get raped by their own teachers. The people who are supposed to instill hope are the ones who take that away. Just because we think we've got power. I've got authority. I'm a teacher. You're just a learner. You will do everything that I say. We've got the power. How will you use it? Poverty in this country, and in actual fact in Africa, is rife. How can we expect a learner to learn something with an empty stomach? When he's sitting in class worrying about where his next meal is going to come from. You want him to add, you want him to subtract. He doesn't know where his next meal is coming from. And of course, poverty and crime walk hand in hand? Why do you think we've got such a large crime rate or crime issue in South Africa? Because we've got a big poverty issue. Why do we have a big poverty issue? Because we've got a big education crisis. All of these things link up. All of these things go hand in hand. And then one that's very dear to my heart. Learners do not have suitable role models. If the family unit deteriorates, if the teachers that they're looking up to are abusing their power, what type of role models will they reach out to? If they do not have role models in their house, if they do not have role models in their school, what do they look to? They look to celebrities, people we read in tabloids, people who got rich with doing relatively nothing. Quick. We get people that are delved into drugs, delved into alcohol misuse, just because they don't have suitable role models. Okay, this is very negative. I feel that I'm bringing bad voodoo in here, bad vibes. Everybody's just no. Okay, what do we need to focus on? We need to start finding a solution. Because if you are as passionate about teaching as I am, I will not sit on a rubbish heap of depro emotions and let all the negative things get hold of me. I want to break free. I want to get out of this negativity, and we need to get some positivity rolling into the system. Nobody else is going to do it. If you think your colleagues are going to bring in the positivity into the school, you're wrong. If you think the principal or the government or the learners, you're wrong. It's not going to start there. The solution starts with you. Now here's my solution to the problem. If we want to get education out of a crisis, we don't need more teachers. What? There's that face again, huh? So this is a whole motivational talk to teachers to tell them not to become teachers. Okay, we do not need more teachers in the system. What do we need? We need super teachers. Dun, 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 dun. We need super teachers. You can't just say, you know what, the problem is we need some super teachers. Yes, let's get super teachers in the classes. Okay, that's not going. You need to say it, you need to feel it, you need to mean it. We need super teachers. Because you know, if a town is in a crisis, if there is one sort of, you've seen these superhero movies, there's always a bad thing happening in the city. Hey, there's a big monster in Metropolis. Hey, now we need something, we need someone to come and help us. Hey, you don't just go, hey, you, come help quickly. No, everybody goes, where are the superheroes? Education is in a crisis. What do we need? We need super teachers. You know, one of my favorite superheroes, I don't know who yours is. I know a lot of people like Spider-Man. I don't like him at all. He's a wimp. He really is. Come on. Stand there in a lab, let the spider bite you. Ooh, I've got superpowers. Okay. Born on another planet with superhuman strength. Great for you. I like Batman. Those of you who've seen Batman before, he's got no superpowers. Nothing. He isn't born with this amazing X-ray vision and stuff. He's a normal person, but with a lot of skills. He's got his whole utility belt filled with tools. And that's exactly what a teacher needs to become. If you want to be a super teacher, you need skills. Yeah, and hopefully during this excursion, and hopefully during your 3 or 4 years that you study, you will get some of these skills. Yeah, but it won't be enough, because the first moment you walk into a classroom, everything changes. Yeah, you need to be highly adaptable. Now, if you want to be a super teacher, what do you need? Yeah, now, in the 6 years that I've been teaching, I came up with a few of these that I think that helped me to become what I would like to call a super teacher. Okay? And the first one, okay, is always get your hands dirty. I like to make this analogy. If your car is broken and you take it to a mechanic, please look at their hands. If you take your car to a mechanic whose hands are always clean, please take your car to another place. A mechanic's hands needs to be dirty. He needs to be working all the time, busy with the oil and the, I don't know, cars, with stuff and just needs to get his hands dirty, because then you know this person is working and he's working hard. I won't trust a mechanic with clean hands. Not at all. Why would you trust your precious, precious child with somebody that does not want to do any work? If you want to be a super teacher, you need to be busy. You need to be working. You need to get your hands in the ground and work. But in the same instance, when you work with an individual learner, when you work with that precious gift of life, please make sure your hands are clean. Okay, somebody's now going, oh, okay. Don't touch the little people with dirty hands. Okay, it's a metaphor. Make sure that when you work with these clean and pristine people, that you do not influence them with your negativity. That you give them something to hope for, and you're not the one that takes the hope away. If you look at the bride walking into a wedding, she's got the most beautiful white gown. Imagine if that same mechanic came and touched that dress. What would happen? We would have a funeral. That bride would go all ape on this guy, killing. Hey, brides are ruthless. So when you want to touch, when you want to work with individual learners, make sure that your life is clean. Make sure that everything that you do when they look at you is clean, so that you don't influence them with your negativity. The next one. Never run away from a challenge. A superhero never runs away. Imagine the whole city of Metropolis sitting there with a big monster. Oh, what are we going to do? Superman arrives. Whoosh. I don't want to be here. You look at this big monster and he goes, nah, you know what? Somebody else. Let's get Spider-Man. And he's a wimp. He can try this out. Okay. What do the people around them feel? You need hope. You want hope. And now suddenly these people are running away. You feel hopeless. So if you want to be a super teacher, you need to face all challenges. You need to make sure that you are ready to work with every single type of challenge that comes your way and not run away. Be prepared for everything and anything. Once you start teaching, you will notice that you cannot predict the behavior of a learner. Especially when there are 40 of them in one classroom with their own moods and their own agendas. You do not know what's going to happen next. You just need to be prepared for it. And unfortunately, I hear that only comes with experience. So start with it today. And don't think, now I'll be a teacher in 4 years' time. Then I'll start working on these things. You need to acquire these skills now. Next one. Know your superpower. What is it that makes you good? You know yourself. You've probably done some work in schools before. Know what you're good at. If you don't know that, how can you build on it? But in the same instance, always know what you're not good at as well. Because that's something you can work on. But when you teach, you want to focus on your positive elements. You want to do what you do best. Know that everybody's eyes are always on you. I made a mistake once. I thought, nah, parents don't know what I'm doing in my classroom. I can do what I want. If you ever feel like that, if you ever get so naive as to think that parents or anybody else do not know what you're doing in your classroom, do something wrong. Do something negative. Say something negative. The next morning, you will be called in. Parents know exactly what you're doing every single minute of the day, because the learners go home and tell them. Not always entirely the truth, but the message gets home. So you need to know that if everybody's eyes are watching me, I need to make sure that my side of the story is clean. Don't just do things willy-nilly in the classroom. Make sure you plan for it. And then if something negative happens, be sure and be ready to deal with it. Yeah, then people will expect the impossible from you. Teachers need to do the impossible things. If a learner gets 20% for math, you are the one that needs to give him 80%. He needs to get there, and you need to do it. Parents will expect this, the principal will expect it, the Department of Education is going to expect this. You need to do the impossible. You need to keep 40 teenagers quiet for about 40 minutes on end. It's impossible. You can get close. You can get very close. Make sure you know what you are doing when you're in the classroom. Okay, then get yourself a reliable sidekick. If you've seen Batman, he's got Robin. Always somebody that has his back. Always somebody that can work with him to make the load lighter. Find yourself that one or two colleagues that you can trust with everything, that will help you out when you get into a bad situation. But when you get home and you're all alone, and you sit and ponder about the negative things that happened today, you need somebody to get you out of it. You need a reliable psychic to tell you, you know what, it's not that bad. You can go back tomorrow and try again. So sometime, hopefully, you will propose to someone to get their hand in marriage, or somebody will propose to you. And you need to think about this, because they're not just marrying a person, they're marrying a teacher. They'll be marrying a whole school. Sounds bad. Right? When you propose, gentlemen, or ladies, when you get proposed to, before you want the yes or the no answer, you need to ask another question. Do you know how to handle a red pen? Because your sidekick will have to mark. Because those 4 holidays you have a year, you will be marking. You will be sitting on the beach with your red pen, and you will be marking. You need a reliable psychic to get you through these negative times. And then make a positive difference. People always say this. They say, you know what? Everything's fine. You're a teacher. Just go make a positive difference. How? Nobody tells you how. How will you make this positive difference? I'll tell you now, you know that bad teacher I spoke about in the beginning? The good teacher that I spoke about in the beginning? They all made a difference. One made a negative one, the other one made a positive one. What are you going to make? Make a positive difference. The next question you will be asked, because the first one was, what will you be doing with the rest of your life? If you then now decide, I want to be a teacher. I don't just want to be a teacher, I want to be a super teacher. People are going to ask you, why? Your friends will judge you. Why do you go through this hell every single day? The thing I normally get is people say, I don't know how to do this. I will kill children. Sometimes I want to. I really do. Why teaching? Why did you decide to go into teaching? I mean, look at the doctors. What do they make? Look at the chemical engineers. What do they make? We don't. You don't get off at 2 o'clock, by the way. You will do extramurals. After your extramurals, you will mark, and then you'll eat, and then you'll mark some more. And then you'll drink coffee, and then you'll mark some more. Then you'll think about sleeping, and then you will mark some more. And then you'll fall asleep on the marks. Why teaching? I get this quite a lot. I've got many friends, and when we get to parties and so on, we tend to introduce ourselves when new people come there, which is good manners. So then my one friend always goes, hi, I'm so-and-so, and I'm a doctor. And the other person goes, hi, I'm so-and-so, and I'm an accountant, and I'm a chartered accountant, and I am a chemical engineer. And then when it's my turn, I caught myself doing this a few times. When it's my turn, I go, oh, hi, I'm Francois, I'm just a teacher. You are never just a teacher, ever. You do not have to make excuses for being a teacher. If somebody goes, they're a doctor, you can go, I'm a teacher. If somebody goes, I am a chemical engineer, you can go, hi, my name is Francois Naude, and I am a super teacher. See what they say. Now, I found a poem on YouTube that I thought was quite apt. The person sat with the same problem. He was at a dinner party, and the discussion came up. Why teaching? Why would you go into teaching? And I love this poem. That's why I'm going to share it with you. And hopefully you feel the same.
He says the problem with teachers is, what's a kid going to learn from someone who decided that his best option in life was to become a teacher? He reminds the other dinner guests that, you know, it's true what they say about teachers. Those who can, do. And those who can't, teach. I decide to bite my tongue instead of his, and resist the urge to remind the other dinner guests that it's also true what they say about lawyers, because we're eating, after all, and this is supposed to be polite conversation. I mean, you're a teacher, Taylor. Come on, be honest. What do you make? And I wish he hadn't done that. Asked me to be honest, because you see, I have this little policy in my classroom about honesty and ass kicking, which is, if you ask for it, then I have to let you have it. You want to know what I make? I make kids work harder than they ever thought they could. I can make a C+ feel like a Congressional Medal of Honor, and I can make an A- feel like a slap in the face. How dare you waste my time with anything less than your very best? I make kids sit through 40 minutes of study hall in absolute silence. No, you may not work in groups. No, you cannot ask me a question. So put your hand down. Why won't I let you go to the bathroom? Because you're bored, and you don't really have to go to the bathroom, do you? I make parents tremble in fear when I call home at around dinner time. Hi, this is Mr. Molly. I hope I haven't called at a bad time. I just wanted to talk to you about something that your son said today. To the biggest bully in the class, he said, leave that kid alone. I still cry sometimes, don't you? And it was the noblest act of courage that I have ever seen. I make parents see their children for who they are and who they can be. You want to know what I make? I make kids wonder. I make them question. I make them criticize. I make them apologize and mean it. I make them write, and then I make them read. I make them spell. Definitely beautiful, definitely beautiful, definitely beautiful, definitely beautiful, until they will never misspell either one of those words again. I make them show all their work in math class and then hide it on their final drafts in English. I make them realize that if you've got this, then you follow this. And if somebody ever tries to judge you based on what you make, you give them this. Here, let me break it down for you so you know what I say is true. I make a difference. Now, what about you?
So I will leave you with this. Hi, my name is Francois Naude, and I am a super teacher. Thank you for having me.